Said I was going to show my booth setup and everything once I got her done, and then I just kind of go over what I did. I do have air at my bench still. I think I showed all that. I've got my gauge and filter and all that stuff, and then I've got my quick disconnect, and that's what I've been spraying with, you know, at the bench. You know, I can throw down some paper and spray. So I'm going to leave all that. I'm not going to, there's no, you know, after the trouble I went through to run all that and everything from this closet, I'm just going to leave all that. But here's the final setup. See if I can back up and show a shot of the whole thing. If you look in there, you can see my holding tank, and then there's a shelf with my airbrush booth, and then I got some storage up there for models. I completely gutted out the closet and painted and caulked and completely cleaned and freshened it up real nice. I just wanted to stay clean in there if I can, since I'm airbrushing in there now. And what I did, here's the, you can see the booth up there, and I just got the metal ducting and a 90. The guy, Mr. Pace, the guy, when I bought talked to him about getting this booth, he suggested that I put at least a 12-inch straight before I 90'd, because that causes turbulence. And if you have it close to the fan, it'll cause turbulence and it kind of decrease its efficiency. And I guess for guys that are like going up or back or something, he suggested that I add at least 12 inches. I've got probably, I don't know, 14, 16 inches there. So that kind of helps a little bit to do that. And I got the 190, and it goes on down through the table, up under. I've got a joint right here. I'm going to add one of those little shut off, kind of like a flue cut off thing, because this is venting outside and we get a lot of wind and cold, and I didn't want that stuff blown up through the pipe and going up, blowing into the airbrush booth and stuff, because it does go straight out the wall and it goes down through the floor. I've got a crawl space, so it goes down through the floor, down into the crawl space. It 90s a gradual, that's where I added, just put that metal stuff. So it's just a real sloping gradual 90, and then about 4 foot beyond this wall is my brick vent. It just happened to be there, so it worked out perfect. And then I just put some screen, like window screen over the end of it to keep some of the critters and bugs and stuff from crawling up in the pipe. And man, it worked out great. Yeah, I picked up a filter while I was getting this stuff, so I got a backup filter for my unit, and I know that Home Depot has them. It's a standard filter, so I went ahead and picked up an extra while I was there. And yeah, that's the booth. Now I did have to obviously do some wiring, and all I happened to have an outlet right here. So what I did is I cut out the wall in the behind here in the closet, and I wired in. Actually, this is a new outlet and everything, because the one I had in there was really old. But I went ahead and put in a new outlet. I wired in some wiring up the wall, and on the opposite side of here I've got a switch and 2 outlets. The switch controls my lights, and one outlet has the booth plugged into it, and then I have a spare outlet in there if I ever need it, maybe for a hair dryer or something. I won't be running everything at one time. So let me kick it on. So I got my lights. Whoop, okay, there it goes. It's one of those just simple 2 24-inch bulb fixtures, and as you can see, it's very, very lit up. This is a stunt model, by the way. I didn't paint that in here or anything. I haven't actually painted anything in here yet. And that's just a stunt model, just to kind of show the scale of it and everything. So it's plenty big. I couldn't be more pleased with this booth. It's pretty awesome. As I already showed, I have an airbrush line at the, plumbed into my booth, or my table, I should say. That's this line here. Coming off, it goes down and through the floor, under and over to the bench and back up and all that. I have a 7-gallon compressor in my garage in the corner, and I've kind of got it insulated. So I've got a 7-gallon supply out in the garage, which is probably 25 plus foot, almost 30 foot from where we're standing right now. So you can hardly hear the thing at all if it's running, but it's one of those really loud ones. So I've got this Iwata tank I just happened to get from a junk place, and the guy gave it to me. He had two of them. I tried to get both of them, but he only would give me one of them when I showed interest in it. And so I got this 9-gallon Iwata holding tank, and it's awesome. Love it. Got me a gauge on it. And how it works is my air is coming from the garage, goes under the house through this heavy-duty hose, comes up through the floor and into the tank. The tank has a check valve on it, which means air can go into the tank, but it can't come back out. So if I disconnect this, no air comes out. So I have a quick disconnect there. Now let me hook it back up. Alright, sorry about that. And I got the same thing on the output. There's a quick disconnect here. So when I disconnect that, no air comes out. So I can actually take this tank out, or disconnect hoses and things if I ever had a leak or something sprung a leak or blowout or whatever. All I got to do is just disconnect my input lines. But anyway, coming out of that, I got a T. One goes to the bench. The other one goes to up to the through here to my setup in the booth, which is just another moisture trap air filter and a regulator, which I have set at 20 something psi right now, into a Badger hose, which has a quick disconnect that fits all my airbrushes. So I can hook up any airbrush in here, just a simple click, you know. And I've got my adjustments, so basically it's right there, you know, when I'm airbrushing. And that's my setup. As far as air, it's totally silent. It couldn't be more silent. You ask how silent can it be, and the answer is none. None more silent. And anybody that's watched Spinal Tap will probably catch that. But yeah, totally silent. There is no sound of a compressor. I can actually fill this tank. And I always turn my compressor off outside. I keep it off. I only turn it on when I need to. So I can just, off of this tank alone, I can spray, I can do a couple projects very easily. No problem. But that's you know, I figure $125 for the compressor I got out there. Yeah, another $30 in fittings and line and stuff like that, and tees and hose. And then I got this free. But you can get these at Harbor Freight, or very, you know, almost similar, very cheaply. So, you know, anybody that's got one of those, that's got a garage with a compressor in it, if you're able to run the line off of that just to your hobby room, get you a holding tank, and you could have just totally silent air. I've got a capacity of 125 psi, which I would never be able to spray with an airbrush. So I can get any pressure I want, 60, 50, 20, 15. It doesn't hardly budge the needle when I spray whatsoever. It's just totally silent. Just nothing. There's no sound at all. It's just air, constant air. So I really love that setup. I'm real happy with it. But anyway, that's my whole setup. As far as my airbrushing room, you know, I've had this planned for a long time. Anybody that's watched my old videos, you'll know that was kind of how I had it all planned out to begin with. I do drain my tanks, keep them drained, and nothing ever comes out. So I've been fortunate so far that it's just, I guess because everything's indoors or under the house or this and that, I just really have had no issues with humidity and buildup of water. And you know, I'm constantly draining it. There's my drain on this tank. And I have a filter on the main compressor out there, a really big one, which is a moisture trap and particulate filter. I have another filter on each end of these two lines that captures moisture and particulate, so there's never a moisture problem at all. But anyway, that's the setup. And it worked out real nice. Real happy with it. And when I'm done, say I do spray in here and it's a little stinky or whatever, you know, I just shut her down. I'm actually going to put some of that little 1/4-inch foam around my door, so when I shut it, it kind of seals it off a little bit. Because we do get a lot of dust in the house and cats and stuff like that. and that would kind of help it keep it clean in that room. It's not going to be a clean room, hermetically sealed or anything, but it is going to help keep it, you know, really clean in there, and there won't be a lot of hair and dust and stuff floating around inside that closet. And but anyway, video's getting long, but I just wanted to give a good in-depth of how my setup is, and hope maybe some people can get some ideas from that. I've got ultimate air pressure, no sound. I've got 2 airbrush stations set up, and but anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later and get on to some building.